Hi chefs, so my internet's gone down, so I thought I'd do a little video on what I'm doing for my tea. So, I only thought I'd do it now, but in here I've got a piece of salmon, and what I've done is I've mixed equal quantities of salt and sugar, so 100 grams of salt, 100 grams of sugar, zest from an orange. I would like zest from a lemon, but I ain't got none at the minute, so I've done zest from a lime. And then I have done about 20 mils of soy sauce, just to add that like savoury, salty, umami sort of flavour to it. And what I've done is I've wrapped this up in cling film nice and tight, made sure the salmon's nice and covered all over, and what this will do is it'll draw the moisture out, firm up the fish, but it'll also impart the flavour of that orange and that lime and that soy, so you get a nice flavour coming through from it. So that's been in the fridge for about 15 minutes. I should have showed you the process of that, but I thought, oh, I'll do a video after, so yeah. So that's going to go back in the fridge for about another 45 minutes. Right, so to make a classic risotto, start with shallot. I haven't got shallots, I've only got white onions. Again, use what you've got. Don't be going to the supermarket, it's not worth it. So, I'm just going to start with half an onion. I'm going to chop this as fine as I can. Because what I want to do is I want to sweat this off. A little stalky bit there, so I'll take that out. So throw your onion, cut across. If it's a big onion, you can cut across again at the top. And then chop it as fine as you can. You ain't going to be perfect. It's going into a sauce. It's going into risotto. So there's nothing fancy about it. It's basically a rice stew, but we're going to make it real fancy. So that's my onions. Don't waste this bit. You can chop this bit up too. So, that's my onion. Also, what I like to do is add a bit of garlic, but I like quite a lot of garlic. So I'll bulb down, and I'm going to take about 3 cloves of garlic. Give them a crush. If you just nick that root off, it'll peel real nice and easy. Sometimes, this is like a little quality point with garlic, it can start doing shoots. Now this means that the bulb's ready to plant to obviously grow more garlic. If you do get any green shoots coming through, if you cut it through the middle like that, you'll see it. That little green shoot there. You can take that out. There's nothing wrong with eating that, but it just sometimes gives it a real earthy taste, which isn't nice. So that's the garlic. Again, nice and fine. See, I like to leave this in like little slithers because then it'll cook nice and slow with my onions and they get nice little bits of garlic while I'm eating the risotto. But if you cook this nice and slow, the harshness of the garlic will go. A little cross chop, and that's ready for the pan. Right, so I've just got a little bit of oil in my pan. And I've got it on a medium heat. I don't want it too high. I don't want it too low likewise. So I want the onions to sweat down, not really develop any colour. But obviously develop that sweetness for the risotto. So I'm just going to sweat this down for a little bit. If you look, I've already got my stock. That's just a veg stock cube. Just getting it nice and hot. You always want it hot so when it goes into the rice, the rice can start absorbing it straight away without it being too cold and having to heat it up in this pan. So a little pinch of salt, a little pinch of pepper in there. Just a pinch of salt, a little bit of pepper. And people that know me know that I don't really use pepper, but in Italian cooking you have to use pepper, it's part of it, it's part of the seasoning. So that's coming up to the heat. Got that sweat, nice, drop the heat back down, just let it sweat off. Just keep your eye on it, keep checking it. Yeah? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a red pepper puree to flavour it. So at the end normally on a risotto you add mascarpone cheese, parmesan cheese and a noggin of butter. I don't have mascarpone cheese. I think I have a little bit of cream that could substitute it. I don't have any parmesan cheese, but I can use a little bit of whatever cheese I've got in my fridge. I think there's a little bit of cheddar. But the red pepper puree is going to act as those kind of binding, thickening agents. So I'm just going to chop this into little macedon. Not too big, about a centimetre square. Also, in the meantime, I've got these little sweet peppers. So all I'm going to do with these is just put them on a tray. A little bit of salt. And then a nice little glug of oil. And then it's going to go in the oven like that. And I'm just wanting to like blister that skin, but also develop that natural flavour in them. So before I start chopping them and then put them into my risotto to take on the flavour of that, this is going to like intensify and give some nice flavour to the peppers. Right, so once you get your peppers in, tiny little bit of butter, you want about 20 gram if that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cover it with a lid. Or should I say, you guys that know me know that I can never find a pan lid to fit a pan, so a bit of tin foil will do fine. Right, now back to our risotto. So, got my risotto, my onions are all cooked down nice and well, and then we're going to rain in our rice. Now, what they normally say is a ladle per portion. I'm just going to make a little bit extra for my wife for tomorrow because she'll be in hospital working on front line, so I'll make a little bit extra. She'll take that way to work tomorrow. So what you're going to do at this point is you just want to toast the rice slightly, and The Italians always say listen to it. What they mean by that is probably, can you hear the little crackling? So just do that for 2-3 minutes. Right, I'm just about to add my stock, but what I like to do, this isn't classic by any means, I just like to take a little bit of butter. I just like to roll the rice around in the butter. I just find it out, the rice starts to take on that like buttery goodness. If we just do this for a minute until the butter dissolves, obviously you'll get that like nice gold colour starting to come through as well. Right, so there's 2 ways you can do this now. I mean, I won't be cooking this till this evening when my wife gets home, so I'm going to show you how you can do this if you're doing it in a restaurant situation. So classically what you'd do is, you'd start ladle of stock, keep moving it, when that stock's gone, a bit more stock and you keep adding it. And yeah, some of the stock's evaporating, but the rice is also soaking it up as well. So each time I add a ladle of stock, it's getting like stickier. I know it's only 2 ladles, but it's starting to cling together. That is the starch in the rice, something that you don't want to lose, you don't want to get rid of. Never, ever, ever wash risotto rice. Ever. So you just keep doing that until your rice is real nice. It wants to be a little al dente, it wants to be soft with a slight little bite to it. The other way that we can do this is the method I will show you in a second. Right, so the other way that you can do this is you get your arborio rice, you take all your stock, and it's normally 4 parts water to 1 part rice with risotto, and we're going to blanch it basically. So I'm going to cook this 3/4 of the way through, and then I'll refresh it. So I'll basically put it through a conical strainer or a sieve or whatever we've got to hand, and I will run it. I will pass off the stock and then I will cool it on a tray, which I'll show you in a while. Waiting a little while now. So it looks like they're getting a little bit dry, or the catching. Just put a little bit of your stock in that you put in your risotto just to stop them. Basically, you're trying to steam them. You're trying to keep that flavour of the peppers. So they're nice and soft. Right, so I forgot to press play on this part. What I've done here is I've put my peppers in with a little bit of butter and I've just blended them in this blender. Now, it's totally up to you. You can pass this off, you can do what you want to do with it. I'm a chef, and students know that I get a bit mardy when sauces aren't passed or purees aren't passed, so I think it's only right if I pass this off. Right, so my risotto is about 3/4 cooked. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it, pass it through a sieve, pass off the liquid. Now, I'm not throwing the liquid away, I'll save that for later when I finish the risotto. Because obviously, you've cooked this rice in it, all the starch from the rice are going into that liquid, so if you throw it away, you're losing some of your thickening agent. Now, when we finish this, we might not need all the stock, but it's always good to have it just in case. So, spread it onto a tray, into a nice layer. Let that cool a little, 5-10 minutes till it stops steaming. Then chill it down in your fridge. That's a puree once I passed it. Again, chill that down, that can go in your fridge. It's just a case of finishing it, which I will do later. Right then, so my salmon, if you look, you see that liquid inside the cling film. So that's had, I did forget about it, it's had about an hour and a half. It's not too detrimental. Obviously, if you wanted to serve that and eat it ready to eat, you could leave that in the fridge overnight. 2 days is better and it'll really firm up like a smoked salmon. You can add all sorts of kind of flavours to it. Herbs, bit of dill, lovely with it. Dill and lemon, it's classic. I've done it before with orange zest and treacle. In with the salt, just reduce the sugar a little bit because obviously the black treacle. That's very, very good. I've also done it as well with beetroot. So you grate a beetroot and you add that to your sugar and salt solution. Many things you can do. You can try it with spices, caraway seeds, maybe some nigella seeds, anything like that. Really good, especially when you leave it for a long cure, overnight, couple of days. Really firms up the texture. Obviously, the salt, the sugar reduces the amount, it reduces the moisture in the fish, making it hard for bacteria to live on it. Yeah, so I'm just going to wash this off. I'll show you after. Right, so I've washed the fish off and I've dried it. So I'm just going to show you this now. If you look, the fish, it goes quite rigid. Doesn't flop around anymore. It's firmed up quite nicely. Again, you can do this as a piece like this, or you can do it in individual pieces. It doesn't really matter. A lot of chefs and a lot of people also trim this bit off, the belly flap, so they normally go just above the V. See, I don't, because that's one, it contains a lot of the omega fats, essential oils, that's great for you. Also, it tastes awesome. All the fat melts in it, liquefies, so when you bite into it, it's real nice and moist. So if you look at the salmon, but then you look inside, it's still like fish, it's still like salmon. You can actually see where the cure has actually cured the outside of the salmon, imparted the flavour. So I'm going to put that back on my tray. That's going to go back in the fridge until I need it. Right, so in here I've got my peppers, I've peeled them down, the ones are roasted. I'm just putting them in a little bit of oil. I'm just going to start sauteing those off before I add my rice. Also, the other half of the onion is here. I'll show you what to do with this now. Now, obviously, half an onion in the fridge, it goes smelly, it's not very nice. If you roast it off, you really do get some nice sweet flavours from it. So, you can either use this, you pick it into petals like this and use it as garnish, or we can chop it up and run it through the risotto to add a little bit more flavour. Nice little bit of sweetness. It'll also add that nice charred flavour to it, obviously because it's got, it does look burnt, it's not burnt. It will add some nice flavour, all caramelisation, especially when it's mixed in with it. So I'm just going to slice this up to little pieces best I can. And if you look how translucent it's gone on the inside, all those sugars have developed, so it has really got like a nice, almost like a sweet and bitter flavour due to the burnt parts. Gives you that real nice caramelised onion note. So that goes in the pan. Although a lot of this is already cooked, what I'm trying to do is, if you look at the colour of that oil, that's just standard olive oil. I'm trying to get as much flavour into that oil as I can, so that when I add the rice back in, the rice starts to soak up all that flavour that comes out of it, so you really do get that strong flavour of pepper. Right, so I'm just warming my pan back up, and I'm going to add a little bit of white wine to this just to reduce it down. You only want about 100 ml. So we're just going to reduce that down till it's a bit syrupy. Another key thing before you cook anything protein wise, especially fish, treat it like meat. I took it out of the fridge about half an hour, 20 minutes before I'm going to cook it, just to let it come to room temperature and it'll cook more even. See, that's nearly reduced off now. So once your wine's reduced down, it's gone a little bit syrupy. We're going to add the stock in. Now I know this sounds like a silly way to make a risotto, but it's making it a backwards, not a backwards, a professional way, obviously to save time in the kitchen. So all your prep's done. So all we're going to do is we're going to heat this stock back up to boiling. So this is now come up to the boil. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to let that stock reduce down a little bit. If I do find I need more when I cook my rice, I can always put a little bit more water in. But the idea is I'm trying to keep the stock that's got all that flavour in and all the starch from the rice from before. So I'm just going to continue to reduce this down a little bit, and then I'll add my rice in. Right, so the stock's been reducing now for a couple of minutes. If you look, it's getting a little bit thick. Obviously that's the starch that's inside the rice that's come out into it. So we're just going to add our rice back into it now and finish off the cooking process of this. And it's always good to have your stock hot, because obviously you want that rice to continue cooking as soon as it hits the pan. You don't want it to sit there and start slowly coming up to heat, because that's when you find out you get like a real grainy risotto. So if you look at that now, it's soaking up a lot of that stock very, very quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the red pepper puree. There's water in here as well. Obviously most vegetables are made up of water, so I'm going to get that in, mix that round, and again that's just adding some more beautiful pepper flavour to it. I mean, you could do this with peas, you could do it with anything that you wanted to do it with. It hasn't just got to be peppers. That's my dog. Just a touch of water. That's my other dog. Give it a taste. So that's just coming up to the heat now. I'm going to add in my cheese. Like I said, it's just about 100 gram of cheddar cheese, finely grated so it dissolves quicker. It's the only cheese I've got at the minute. Also, I avoided seasoning it till I got to this sort of part. Obviously, you're adding cheese. Cheese can be quite salty. Stock cubes, they can be quite salty. I've added seasoning here and there, not too much. Obviously, sort of consistency we're looking for, that nice like lava sort of texture. At this stage it is important to keep moving it, but don't beat it too much. Remember, your rice is partly cooked, so it is partly soft. You beat it too much, you'll find that your rice starts to break up. You just want to keep moving it so it's not stuck to the base. And then when you're just about there, like I say, it does look wet, but look, it should be wet. It should be flowing like lava. And what you do is, once you get it to this sort of consistency, you just turn off the heat and just let it sit 2-3 minutes, and you'll see that it thickens up just from relaxing. But you don't want to make it too thick in the pan, or that's when you get them risottos that you can mould into shapes. So that's about perfect, that. So I'm just going to let that sit there 4 or 5 minutes just to rest. So I've just melted the butter, I've just got the pan a little bit warm. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay this salmon in. You want a little sizzle. Like I say, there's a lot of chefs that will say different. I mean, when I'm in industry, I was a fish chef for 6-7 years. I just always found that if you bring the heat up on the fish, as opposed to putting it straight in a hot pan, you get a more even cooking throughout. So I'm going to give that about 4 or 5 minutes, skin side down, nice medium heat. Then I'll turn it and I'll let the residual heat finish cooking it in the pan. It's had about 5 minutes resting, and if you look, it's still got a like lava texture to it now that it's reduced. Not reduced, sorry. Now that it's rested and it's finished soaking up all that excess stock. It's nice and loose, exactly how you want it. If you look as my fish is cooking, you can actually see up the side of the fish as the heat's going through it. So if you look at that fish now, nice crispy skin, as you can see. Edges are caught a little bit, but sometimes you find that with a skewer due to the sugar. It's not burnt, but you get a real nice caramelisation. Real nice caramel flavour to the skin. Very, very nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off the heat now, and the residual heat in the pan will continue to cook the salmon. As it's flesh side down, the heat will just keep cooking it. That's been resting 2-3 minutes, and if you can see, I'm still bubbling a little bit, yeah, but you can actually see that it's going up the fish. So it's still cooking at the residual heat in the pan. This will make it nice and pink in the centre as well. Right then, so to plate this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of my risotto. I'm just going to put a little layer at the bottom of the bowl. And like I said, because this is a proper risotto, when you tap your bowl, or shake your bowl, it should flow out like lava. So what we're going to do then, take our nice piece of salmon, sit that on top. A little bit of extra cheese. I've just got some basil leaves, I'm just going to place these on. To tear them, you ain't got to do anything fancy with it. And the day we're at home. And then, to finish this, it's a nice glug of olive oil over your risotto, like so. Nothing fancy, it's home cooking. That's risotto with orange cured salmon.